I wanted to share a really cool set of tools that I built for Cinema 4D. They're going to help you bringing in materials into Cinema from outside sources for Substance Painter, Designer, or any textures tool set that you're using that's outside of the program. This will look by default inside your texture folder where your Cinema 4D project file is stored, and auto build materials based on the texture set lists that are associated with those sets, and then pipe everything directly for you. It works with standard materials and Redshift node materials as well. Currently, this script is only functioning from 2025 and up. I may go back and backdate one for 2024, but for right now, I'm probably just forward only for a little bit, unless the request comes in that people really want it for older versions. But this is kind of how this is going to work going forward. So let's dive into Substance real quick. First, I'm going to show you how it works with UDIMs and non-UDIM materials, the textures it's going to export, how you would change texture set lists if you're doing that, and kind of then go into the script functions inside Cinema 4D next. So first I have a gold and brown crate. This is a UDIMmed material. You can see, so I've got UDIM tiles. The wood spans across 6 and the metal spans across 11. You can name these whatever you want. Again, make sure to name them things that are going to make sense towards your object, right? So if we go to File, Export the Textures, and we go to the list of exports, you can see I'm using ACES. It does not matter. If you want to use Legacy, if you want to use just sRGB, you can do that too. My script will look for key phrases for each slot, right? So it's going to only put base color, diffuse color, that kind of thing in that slot, emission in an emission slot, so on and so forth, right? So it's not going to get confused. So if you don't want to use ACES, you don't have to. But this way, I'm just showing you the latest and greatest way to work. That's kind of recommended for most projects. I am using currently a Redshift output template that adds ambient occlusion onto it. You can do whatever you want. You can see I'm pulling the metal and wood, and that is coming here from the texture set list, and then all of the UDIM numbers, right? So my script will look at if a UDIM tile is greater than 1, right? So if it's 001 to whatever number, or 000 to whatever number, it'll then conclude that and then replace those numbers with the UDIM variable that Redshift wants. So that's really cool. So let me show you a non-UDIM material. So if we go into the regular crate, you can see this one is gold and brown, or sorry, silver and brown versus the gold and brown. Same thing, metal and wood. Go into the file, go into export texture sets, using Redshift, that little output template, list of exports. Here we go, right? So it just, and these are PNG files. Simple stuff, right? The script right now works with PNGs, JPEGs, TIFFs, and EXRs. I may add other support, but right now it's kind of not needed. I don't really see many people using other things from Substance. I may add HDR support as well. But anyways, let's jump into Cinema where this script lives. So in here, I have 2 cubes. I've got one of the UDIM ones, and then I have the non-UDIM crates. So if I were to just delete all this out real quick, take a Sandy, and I will put this over here. I have 2 just sort of vertex placeholder materials, right? This is just so I can get those texture sets into Substance. Don't gotta do it, just kind of makes things easy. And if we open up the File Explorer, here we go. You can see the demo project, texture folder, and I have my materials stored in subfolders. You don't have to do that. You can put them all in here and splayed out. You don't have to keep things organized. If we look at the script, so if we go to extensions, user scripts, materials, you can see here we go. There are 4 scripts. I have them docked as well, and I have the menu open. 2 scripts are for importing materials, one for standard, one for Redshift. The other 2 are utility conversion scripts. They basically take the basic functions that Redshift already has and lets you dock those. So if you've got a lot of materials that are already in a project that are set to standard, you want to convert them to Redshift, you can just select them, hit the button, boom, it'll convert it. And then convert those espresso materials to node if you want to as well. But the bread and butter of this is the easy import buttons. So let's first import a standard material. You click that button very quickly, it will bring in your standard materials. It brought in the UDIM ones, even though, you know, standard doesn't support UDIMs, but we're just going to ignore that for now. And then you can see in here, it's got the color channel, reflectance, normal, alpha, and displacement, right? Sweet to go. If I were to hold, if I were to hold shift, it'll bring up a dialog box. This dialog box can look at any folder. It doesn't have to be inside your texture folder. It can be somewhere else. In my case, this is another folder project here called bucket, and I can bring that in. Why is this here? Well, let's say you want to bring in an iterative version of a material and you don't want to bring in everything again. This will let you do that. You may only want to bring in all your materials compiled first at the start of a project and then kind of like work your way through as you go. So this kind of offers the best of both worlds. And again, this is standard material. But let's look at the fun stuff. Redshift. So if I were to click this button, it's going to automatically make a Redshift material, pipe all of the nodes into those slots for me, so I don't have to do it, and then name them accordingly. So let's look at the non-UDIM first. So in this node space, you can see I've got a color map, metalness map, roughness, emission map, opacity, and normal map. This is done for me, so I don't have to. In the newest version of Redshift, it does a pretty good job of labeling things as raw versus sRGB. Some things might come in kind of wonky, but for the most part, everything should be pretty correct. You can still go ahead and let's reverse that. You can still go ahead in here and go into file.io and manually set, you know, sRGB, raw, that kind of stuff. But for now, this is sort of how this is going to function. And you can see it is looking at your material, right? So this is a texture set. So it's looking at the base color, it pulled it into here. Metalness goes to metalness, and so on and so forth. Let's look at the UDIM one. Again, you can see what it did. It took the UDIM tiles, combined them with the brackets. So you don't have to do this anymore. This has been a bane of my existence for so long with UDIM materials because I just don't want to deal with it. And especially if you're doing like a shoe, a character, and you've got massive UDIM tiles that could be like, you know, 10 by 10 and even higher than that. Doing that for every single material can become really tedious. This will save you a lot of time. So this should be awesome to help you out. Do what it can. If you have any questions, concerns, please hit me up on social media. I will try and get back to you as best as I can. These set of scripts, like all of my current scripts that are on offering, are going to be bundled inside Action Studio. Eventually they will be their own separate product, but for right now, they're being bundled together. The bundle is only $35, and there is a 15% off up until the next 2 days. After that, it's back to its default $35 price. So grab them while you can, because this will help you out a lot. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day. Peace.